Hey y'all, in this lesson we are going through solving multi-step equations. We are going to be able to plan multiple solution paths and choose one to find the solution. We will be seeing the distributive property a lot here. So the things we want to keep in mind is that when solving multi-step equations, sometimes you can distribute and then combine like terms. Sometimes you'll combine like terms and then distribute. Sometimes you won't need to do either of those things. Our essential question for this particular lesson is how can you use the distributive property to solve multi-step equations? So let's look at the first example. A math teacher recorded the distances he rode his bike last week. He challenged his class to find the number of miles he rode on Thursday. And we can see here Thursday is labeled as X miles. How far did he ride? Well, we also have some other information here. We're being shown that the amount he rode from Monday through Wednesday is a total of 4 times x plus 3. The amount he rode on Friday and Saturday were both the same amount of x plus 7. We're also being told that the total number of miles he rode Monday through Wednesday is the same that he rode Thursday through Saturday. So these two halves are the same. We can represent this then as a bar diagram where part of it is 4x plus 3 and the other part is the x and the two x plus 7s. Because that x plus 7 appears twice, we can rewrite it in parentheses multiplying 2. At this point, we can then distribute, and we will get 2 times x and 2 times 7, so showing those pieces there. 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 7 is 14. Now we'll combine like terms. We have x plus 2x. We will get 3x. So we have 4x plus 3 equals 3x plus 14. Now we want to get rid of the lower number x, since there's 1 on both sides, so we'll get rid of the 3x by subtracting it. So we subtract 3x on both sides. 4x minus 3x leaves us with an x, and then we still have the plus 3 on the left and the 14 on the right. Now we want to subtract that 3 from both sides so we can get x alone, and we'll end with x equals 11. Remember that the quantity of x was the number of miles this teacher biked on Thursday, which is what the question was asking us. So our answer would be something like, the teacher rode 11 miles on Thursday. Here is a problem for you to try. Make sure you distribute first, combine like terms, and then solve it like a problem with an x on both sides. See if you can get the correct answer. We also want to look at distributing a negative coefficient. We struggle with this a lot, forgetting that that subtraction sign can act as a negative. They're allowed to switch. So one thing to remember is if you don't see the number, there is an invisible 1. So we want to put that 1 in to see that we are going to be multiplying in a negative 1. Now we can see how we have that 3, and then we're going to change it to plus, so we can write negative 1 times x plus negative 3 times negative 3. So we changed it to adding, and that's so that we can put that minus or that negative with the 1. Or in the case of the negative 3, putting that subtraction in front of it with the negative 3. So we switch to using plus signs. Negative 1 times x is simply going to be negative 1x, or just negative x. And negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. So when we simplify that, we have 3 minus x plus 3. We'll combine like terms. 3 plus 3 gives us 6, and we still have negative or minus x. We'll now subtract 6 from both sides, trying to get that x all alone. And so we'll do 25 minus 6 to get that negative x equals 19. And if negative x equals 19, hopefully you can see how x equals negative 19, right? So it's just opposites. But we can also look at that as needing to divide by a -1. We can look at that as multiplying a -1. So we divide by -1, and we get that x equals negative 19. Here is a very similar example for you to try. You have a -3 you need to multiply in, as well as a 1/2 to multiply in. So you do have to do distribution on both sides, and then solve it like we have been. See if you can get the right answer. Finally, we have our summary. Remember, you are writing this in your notes where it says summary. When solving multi-step equations, sometimes you distribute first and then combine like terms, like we see in this first example where they distribute the 7, and then they combine 14x and x. However, sometimes you might need to combine like terms and then distribute, like in the second example. It is easier to only have to distribute twice rather than having to distribute 3 times, so we see that 5x and 9x are like terms that can be combined to make 14x. This allows us to make the distribution easier, as we only have to distribute one thing rather than 2. And as you have seen in previous lessons, there is definitely a chance that you don't have any distribution that you have to do, so watch out for those things too. Remember to do your build assignment to get some practice with this skill, and then complete your mastery check. Good luck.